Good morning, everyone. This is Tim Wilmot speaking from Wizard Systems. Thanks for joining me today for GoldMIne 101, our regular series of short GoldMIne presentations focusing on different topics. And this morning I'm going to cover the GoldMIne SQL Query Builder. Now this presentation will be about a quarter of an hour or so. It's just an overview of this SQL thing. It's not meant to be in-depth training. My company, Wizard Systems, offers many extensive training options should you want to explore those with us. Now on the call today, we've got people using all sorts of different versions of GoldMIne. I'll be showing you the latest version, which is 2016.1, but pretty much most of what I mention is relevant to all versions of GoldMIne. You'll just find that in more up-to-date versions of GoldMIne, there's a few enhancements to the SQL Query Builder feature. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, for those of you that have been on previous sessions, please type your questions into the question box on your meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Also, I'll be giving an update towards the end of the call on any GoldMIne product news and updates just to keep you in the loop there. This call is being recorded. After the presentation, you'll receive an email with a link to the recording. Obviously, you can look back on that again when you want to, and we'll most likely post it to our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, just a very brief mention about my company, Wizard Systems. We are the top supplier of GoldMIne in the UK and Europe. We supply lots of different CRM solutions. GoldMIne is one of the key ones that we supply and support. We've been doing this a long time. We've implemented well over 3,000 systems in the UK and further afield into all sorts of different types of companies, and we offer a wide range of GoldMIne services: GoldMIne upgrades, GoldMIne support, customization, integration with other applications. We support well over a dozen very popular GoldMIne add-ons, add-on applications that are very well known in the GoldMIne community, and we supply extensive training options as well. At your place, you can come to our place, or we can do it online. Okay, so the SQL Query Builder. Let me just take you into GoldMIne first of all. So I know a lot of you will be familiar with the filters and grouping feature of GoldMIne to allow you to build up a list of all of your contacts that have some common information, some criteria that they have in common to build up a list, maybe for some sort of marketing purpose. Well, the SQL Query Builder allows you to get to places where those filters and groups can't get to. Potentially anything that's stored in GoldMIne, you could search for and create a group of those people that have that common criteria. All made easy with the SQL Query Builder. Now you access the SQL Query Builder in a few different ways. From your Tools menu, with older versions of GoldMIne, you'd have to go to SQL Query, and then you'd see that this is the SQL Query screen. Basically, there's two boxes there, and over on the right hand side there's a little build button which will take you through a little wizard, essentially a few screens just asking you what's the criteria that you want to search for. And in more recent versions of GoldMIne, that's been made a little bit more intuitive now, because you can go to this lookup wizard, and in fact I have put that on my GoldMIne toolbar as well to run the lookup wizard, aka the SQL Query Builder. So this is it. This is our first prompt, and first of all GoldMIne is asking us, okay, so what part of GoldMIne are you essentially looking at? Is it contact information about your contacts and companies, outstanding activities, completed history activities, maybe it's notes? Of course, we're tracking emails in GoldMIne, so we could be building up a list of everyone that's that's had a particular email from us or we've received a particular email from them, opportunities, projects, and cases. For the purpose of this short little demo, I'll just take you through completed activities. There's a lot of similarities between all of these different choices here, but I've chosen now to look at history. So let's say, for example, I want to build up a list of everyone that I've had a phone call with. So I can just select that first of all and click next to get to the second screen in my little wizard here. So this is where we can actually look at all activities, any or all of these activities. We can focus on a particular user or group of users. Activity type here, the second question, well, of course, this is where I want to select phone calls, but I could select other activity types as well, not just one, but there's all the other main types of activities that GoldMIne will track for you: appointments, sales, actions, miscellaneous actions, to-dos, events, and so on. So I've selected calls there. I could also select a date range if I wanted to be a bit more specific of the date when the activity was completed or recorded. Now, activity codes. Some of you might be aware that when you schedule an activity, when you record an activity, of course, there's a key type of activity. It's a call or a meeting. But the activity code is generally a 3-letter code that allows you to categorize this type of call or this type of meeting, for example. So I'm just going to select here APT. It was an appointment making call. You can make up your own as well for whatever purpose you want to, mainly for, as I'm doing here, for analysis, for reporting, for automated processes. They're useful in many other places, and also to prioritize your activities. Maybe you're using GoldMIne for tracking your daily activities, and when you look at your activity list in GoldMIne at the beginning of your working day, you may want to prioritize your activities, do first those most important activities. So using that activity code is another way of prioritizing your schedule. So there we are, APT. I could also look at result codes. Result codes, when you complete an activity, GoldMIne will prompt you for the outcome of this call or the outcome of that meeting. What was the result? What did you achieve? Again, it's another 3-letter code that you decide what those codes are, but I could be a little bit more specific there over the outcome of these activities. And reference is the description or the subject of that activity, the one-liner that you get when you, a greater description of that particular call when you record it or complete it. So there we've selected call and APT as an activity code. I'll now just click next. This third screen here is just asking me for a search of all activities or just linked activities, or maybe I want to look at unlinked activities. Basically what this is meaning is that when you schedule an activity, by default it's linked to a client's record, which is of course what we want to do in a CRM system. We want to make sure we are linking activities to a customer's record. So we're building up a lovely history of everything that's gone on with that customer. But there may be some examples where you have recorded some sort of activity, but it's nothing to do with a particular customer. So you can unlink it. It's just a very simple checkbox on the complete call screen. So I could select just linked or unlinked activities there if I wanted to. Click next. We're nearly there. So this is now built up this SQL query. SQL is short for Standard Query Language, and this syntax is used not only by GoldMIne, this is not specific to GoldMIne, but many other database and reporting applications out there use this SQL syntax for searching for information, for gathering information. It's a very common syntax there. So I'm just going to click finish. Of course, you could edit there. I'm going to click finish. This is now pasted into the top portion of my SQL query screen here, that very same code that we saw. And you can sort of make out what it's trying to do. This is what we call a select statement. So it's selecting from CH, contact history, from the GoldMIne database, where we're looking at the record type C. C is short for call, and the activity code in the contact history table equals APT. All standard stuff. Of course, you could click in there and change that if you want to. Over on the right hand side, I'm now going to run this query by clicking on this query button, and very quickly, depending on the size of your database, this will now find all of the records. There we are. I've got, in my particular database here, I've got well over 7,300 records that's affected by where it's found those records. Now, once you've found those, you can adjust these columns as well, by the way. Once you've found those, you can then create a group. If you want to permanently record these people, you created a nice query, you want to use these people for some other purpose. Maybe you want to create a group, maybe you want to do some kind of marketing exercise on these people. You can go to groups, and when you create a new group, this will allow you to create the group from the SQL query records there. So that's a very simple way of in a more permanent way, recording these people. So that's a quick run through the SQL query builder. When you would use it is probably when you've exhausted what a filter or a group will do. 9 times out of 10, you'll be using the filter feature of GoldMIne from the Contact Search Center or from your Tools menu. Sometimes you may want to use the grouping feature, and then for all other catch-all requirements, you can use that SQL Query Builder. Very powerful part of GoldMIne. And when you get to know the syntax, the sort of layout here, the language of the SQL structure, you can do a lot more powerful things. And we can assist you as well. If you get stuck, just contact us and we'll do our best to try and assist you there. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is open out our session to any questions that you've got, either around this feature or indeed any other aspects of GoldMIne. First question from Robin. We are storing campaigns in a detail record. Can we create a group of these to mail to? So yes, so a detail record in GoldMIne is an area where you can use it for any purpose to store information, multiple bits of information relating to a customer. So as I understand it, Robin, you're storing previous campaign names in that detail record. So yes, you can. Using the SQL Query Builder, you'd use the contact record option. Remember that first screen of the wizard I came to? That's where you'd select the contact record, and then you'll be able to select detail records from there. Next question from Elisa or Elisa. How can I share my SQL query with other users? Well, other users can use your SQL queries. They can just select that user option. It is possible to restrict other people's access to SQL queries because they can be quite powerful, and maybe you don't want to expose this feature to all of your users. So there may be some circumstances where you do want to hide it. The other option you've got there is that there's dashboards in GoldMIne. You can create flashy dashboards, and you could create a new dashboard from the SQL query, thereby giving it a nice easy way of sharing the SQL query with other users there, Lisa. Next question from Martin. How do you put a new button on your toolbar? basically, Martin, that is when you go into your toolbar, you've got the toolbar options there, and you can add and remove new buttons as you wish to, or remove them from that toolbar as well. Okay, let's just see if there's any more questions. It doesn't look to be any more questions, so thanks to the three of you for those interesting questions there. Hopefully that answered them okay for you. Just to, well, I've got some of you still on the line, just to inform you of our future GoldMIne training dates. The 5th and 12th of July. 5th is an introduction course suitable for new starters, and the 12th is an advanced GoldMIne training course for more power users. We're pleased to announce the first hotfix for version 2016.1 has just come out. So these hotfixes come out every month, and as part of your GoldMIne maintenance contract, you'll have access to those. One new feature has been added due to a popular request from a lot of users in the GoldMIne community. There's the ability in the GoldMIne web version to carry over, when you're completing a call and scheduling a future call, to carry over information from the previous call to the future call. Quite a useful feature that you get in the classic Windows interface that's now available in the GoldMIne web interface. So anyone that's on your maintenance contract, you can gain access to that latest hotfix release. And indeed we do, if I can just show you briefly, we do have a very active GoldMIne blog, and if you log on to that and you subscribe to that, you'll get instantly all the latest news that we post up there on our popular GoldMIne blog, which contains many hundreds of useful hints and tips on GoldMIne. Next question from, there's the question from Dean. Tim, just a gentle reminder about future demos on QuoteWorks. P.S. Does the query resolve Hodgson's team selection and tactics last night? Dean, that looks like a query that you might have posted on our help desk. I'll contact you separately on that. Okay. As I always request, if you've got any useful ideas for future topics, and in fact next week I am responding to someone's really good idea to talk about next week how you can use GoldMIne as a powerful marketing engine, a powerful marketing solution, and just very briefly cover our suggestions, hints and tips around using GoldMIne as a powerful marketing tool for you to help generate more business, communications in a targeted way to your customers. So stay tuned for that. If there are any late questions coming through, I will answer those separately via email, but thanks very much for your time this morning, and we look forward to seeing you next week, as I say, when we hope to cover marketing in a lot more detail. But thanks very much for your support of GoldMIne and Wizard Systems. Thanks very much for your time this morning. Thank you. Bye-bye.